You've been feeling it, haven't you? That strange mental fog? That moment where you read the same sentence 3 times and still can't hold on to it. Or maybe it's the way a decision that should take 5 minutes somehow turns into 2 days of paralysis. Or the way you used to feel sharp, and now you just feel average. Here's the question nobody's asking you. Are you actually getting dumber? Or are you just following habits that are quietly rewiring your brain to function that way? Because here's the brutal truth that science won't sugarcoat. Chronic sleep neglect alone makes your brain function as if you were legally drunk. Your memory crashes, your decisions collapse, and the worst part, you don't even feel it happening. Today, we're going on a brain rescue mission. I'm going to walk you through 12 everyday habits that feel completely normal, that are silently, invisibly lowering your cognitive ceiling. Not to scare you, to wake you up. Let's begin. Habit number 1. And I'm starting here because nothing undermines your intelligence faster than this one. Chronic sleep neglect. You tell yourself you're fine on 5 hours, maybe 4. You've got coffee, you've got willpower, you've got a deadline. But here's what's actually happening inside your skull while you grind through that 4th hour of the night. Your prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for reasoning, judgment, and impulse control, is essentially going offline. Research from the University of Pennsylvania found that people who sleep only 6 hours a night for 2 weeks perform as badly on cognitive tests as someone who has been awake for 48 straight hours. And a 2024 UCSF study confirmed that poor sleep in midlife is directly linked to brain atrophy, the kind that accelerates toward dementia. Let that settle. Here's the psychological mechanism. Sleep is when your brain consolidates memory. It literally saves the files from your day. Without it, you are doing the mental equivalent of working all day on a document and then closing without saving. Every single night. The fix isn't complicated, it's just unpopular. 7 to 9 hours. Consistent, non-negotiable. Your intelligence literally depends on it. Habit 2. And this one might sting a little. Magical thinking. I'm not talking about optimism, I'm not talking about faith. I'm talking about outsourcing your logic to rituals, patterns, and superstitions that have zero causal relationship to your outcomes. The lucky socks you wear to interviews, checking your horoscope before making a business decision, believing Mercury in retrograde is responsible for your failed relationships. Here's the cognitive problem with magical thinking. Every time your brain accepts a superstitious explanation, it bypasses the harder, more intelligent question. Where is the actual evidence? Psychologically, magical thinking is what researchers call pattern over-detection. Your brain is so hungry for order and meaning that it creates connections that don't exist. And the more you feed that habit, the weaker your critical reasoning circuits become. Because the brain is remarkably simple in one way. It strengthens what you use and prunes what you don't. Use superstition, lose logic. Intelligence asks evidence-based questions. Make sure yours still can. Habit 3. Doom scrolling. And yes, I know you know this one, but knowing it and understanding what it's physically doing to your brain are two very different things. In 2004, a team of researchers found the average human attention span on a screen was 2.5 minutes. By 2012, it dropped to 75 seconds. We don't have 2024 numbers yet, but the direction of that graph should scare you. Here's why it's collapsing. Every swipe delivers a tiny dopamine burst to your brain. New post, new reaction, new outrage, new laugh. Dopamine, dopamine, dopamine. And just like any drug, your brain adapts. It begins to crave that constant stimulation, and more importantly, it begins to resist anything that doesn't deliver it instantly. That means focus becomes painful, deep reading becomes difficult, complex problems feel unbearable. A 2024 Harvard Health study confirmed that doom scrolling triggers what researchers are calling brain rot, emotional desensitization, cognitive overload, and the systematic erosion of your ability to think deeply. The question isn't whether you scroll. The question is, who is controlling whom? Your phone or your prefrontal cortex?
Habit 4. Blindly following trends. And I want you to hold this thought before you dismiss it, because this one is less about what you consume and more about what you become. The human brain has a deep, primal need to belong. Evolutionary psychology tells us that social conformity once kept us alive. The herd was safety. But in a world of TikTok dances, viral opinions, and algorithm-driven identity shifts, that same instinct is quietly hollowing out your self-concept. When you change your personality, your opinions, your aesthetic, your values, every time a new trend appears, your brain stops building a coherent internal identity, and a fragmented self-concept isn't just a philosophical problem, it's a cognitive one. People with strong, stable identities demonstrate significantly better decision-making, emotional regulation, and problem-solving than those whose sense of self is externally driven. The most intelligent thing you can do is know who you are when no one is watching. Habit 5. And let me be precise here, because this isn't about gaming being bad. Gaming can genuinely build spatial reasoning, reflexes, even strategic thinking. This is about gaming without learning. Picture someone who has played the same game for 300 hours. They still die in the same corridor. They still miss the same shots. They still lose to the same strategy, not because they lack talent, because they never stopped to reflect. They never paused, pulled back, and asked, why is this not working? What am I doing wrong? What would a better player do differently? This is the cognitive principle behind deliberate practice, a concept pioneered by psychologist Anders Ericsson at Florida State University. Time spent in any activity without reflection, feedback, and adjustment does not produce growth. It produces habit, and there is a significant difference between being experienced and being skilled. Time in does not equal growth. Reflection does. Habit 6. Avoiding solitude. How long can you sit alone? No phone, no music, no podcast, no background noise before you reach for something. Most people can't make it 5 minutes, and that's not laziness. That's actually a symptom. Psychologists call it cognitive avoidance, the tendency to fill every quiet moment with external input, because sitting with your own thoughts feels genuinely uncomfortable. But here's the problem. Your brain does its deepest processing, its most creative problem solving, and its most important emotional regulation in silence. Neuroscience research on the default mode network, the brain's internal processing system, shows that it is most active during quiet, unfocused moments. This is when your mind connects dots, resolves conflicts, and generates original ideas. When you constantly drown that space with noise, you are literally preventing your brain from doing its highest order work. Silence isn't emptiness. Silence is maintenance. Habit 7. Living on small talk. Now, I want to be careful here, because social connection is genuinely important for brain health. But there is a difference between connection and conversation that never goes below the surface. Researchers studying what's called need for cognition, basically how much a person enjoys effortful thinking, found that individuals with higher cognitive engagement consistently seek out idea-based, complex conversations. Not because they're snobs, but because their brains are literally hungry for the kind of mental workout that only deep discussion provides. Small talk is the cognitive equivalent of junk food, fine occasionally, devastating as a diet. Ask yourself honestly, when was the last time a conversation genuinely challenged how you think? When did you last leave a discussion with a new idea you hadn't considered before? If you're struggling to remember, your brain is running on empty. Habit 8.
Instant gratification. And here's where I'm going to ask you something uncomfortable. When is the last time you chose the harder thing because it was better for you long term? Not because it felt good now, because it was right. In 1970, psychologist Walter Mischel at Stanford ran what became the most famous experiment in self-control research. He sat children in a room with a single marshmallow and made a simple offer: eat it now, or wait 15 minutes and get 2. The children who waited showed significantly higher SAT scores, better emotional regulation, greater career success, and stronger cognitive function decades later. Not because of the marshmallow, because of the habit of the mind that the waiting represented. Every time you reach for the fast reward, the quick dopamine hit, the shortcut, the easy answer, you are training your brain to abandon the higher order thinking that only patience, depth, and sustained focus can build. Cognitive discipline isn't a personality trait you're born with. It's a muscle, and you either exercise it or you watch it atrophy. Habit 9. Rigid thinking. Here's how you can spot it in yourself. Someone presents you with evidence that contradicts something you believe. What's your first instinct? Curiosity or defense? Mental inflexibility, what researchers call low cognitive adaptability, is one of the clearest markers of limited intellectual growth. It's the inability or unwillingness to update your mental model of reality when reality itself has changed. And the psychological cost is enormous. Life doesn't stay still. Problems evolve. New information emerges. And the person who clings to yesterday's answers is always solving yesterday's problems. The most adaptive minds in history, the scientists, the innovators, the leaders who change things, didn't succeed because they were always right. They succeeded because they were always willing to be wrong. Update the model every time. All right, that was a lot of hard truth. Now let's talk about what you actually do about it. 3 habits, simple ones, that research consistently shows are the fastest routes to cognitive recovery. Number 1, the digital sunset. 1 hour before you go to sleep, phone down, screen off, notifications silenced. I know what you're thinking. That's when I wind down with my phone. But here's what's actually happening when you do that. Blue light from screens suppresses melatonin production, delaying sleep onset by up to 90 minutes. Your brain, instead of entering its memory consolidation and toxin clearing processes, stays locked in stimulation mode, processing content instead of processing your day. Replace that hour with reflection, a journal, a book, a conversation. Reclaim your evening for your mind. Number 2, the 20-minute learning rule. Instead of randomly consuming whatever the algorithm serves you that day, choose one skill, one topic, one book, and spend 20 focused, distraction-free minutes on it every single day. Not 2 hours on a weekend, 20 minutes daily, consistent. Oh, and the compound effect of deliberate daily learning at 20 minutes a day over 1 year is the equivalent of treating 24 full books. That's not a metaphor, that's mathematics. Number 3, active observation. This one sounds almost too simple, but it requires enormous discipline. Talk less, observe more. In your next conversation, in your next meeting, in your next social situation, resist the urge to fill silence with your own voice. Instead, listen with the intent to understand, not to respond. Active observation builds 2 things simultaneously: emotional intelligence and logical pattern recognition, both of which are cornerstones of genuine cognitive power. I want to leave you with something that isn't a study. It isn't a statistic or a research citation. It's a question, and I want you to actually sit with it before you scroll to the next thing. Imagine yourself at 80 years old. You're sitting somewhere quiet, and you're looking back, not at what you accomplished, but at how you spent your attention. The hours, the choices, the moments. Will the content you scrolled through tonight matter?
Will the argument you had on the internet last Tuesday matter? Will the trend you followed because everyone else did matter? None of us are guaranteed tomorrow, but most of us are going to live a long time. Long enough for the choices we make now, the habits we build now, the way we use our minds now, to compound into either a life of growing, thriving intelligence, or a life of quiet, gradual diminishment we barely noticed happening. You are watching this video. That means something. It means some part of you already knows you are capable of more. Stop living on autopilot. Your mind is not a passive passenger in your life. It is the vehicle, it is the map, and it is the destination. Use it accordingly. If any of these habits landed, if you recognized yourself in even one of them, I want to hear which one hit hardest. Drop it in the comments right now, not because it'll help the algorithm, but because naming the thing is the first step to changing it. And if this kind of content that takes the brain seriously, that goes deeper than the surface, that asks real questions, resonates with you, then subscribe, because that's exactly what this channel is here to do. Decode the human mind, bit by bit, video by video. I'll see you in the next one.